Well, Jim, what's the overriding emotion after that game? Relief or satisfaction? How are you feeling?
Obviously, I'm delighted we've got something out of the game, and the lads showed great character and a touch of quality at the end to get the goal. I thought Chorley they played well. A lot of their players performed really well. Walker up front was a real handful, and he had a bit of dash, and they probably played as well as they could. And the best they played against us. We haven't played well, and yet we've still been a match for them and took a point. So that's a pleasing aspect. But I thought there was too many rough edges today. Too many. I don't know. The quality wasn't really there today. And we got into some really good positions, and we just lacked that little bit of quality. But like I said, great cross and great finish for the goal. But generally our game was a bit bereft of quality.
But another late equaliser like last week, does that say something about the character of your team, do you think?
Well, there's a lot of aspects we've been working on, and I've had people writing to me wanting to come in and give team talks and send us to different places because they feel we needed something. I think it's within the group. We've worked on different aspects of the game. I just think that we have the quality there. We just need to keep going and make sure we make the right decisions. And whether you get an opposition that kind of sits back a little bit and allows you to impose yourself on, then they've only got themselves to blame really if you score a late goal.
In terms of Chorley's goal today, did you feel the award of the free kick was the right decision, or should it have gone the other way?
Regardless of that, the free kick wasn't taken from where the incident was, and the referee made such a fuss in the first half about us not taking a free kick from 2 yards away, and every throw when he was checking people where they went. There was an assessor in the stand, so he was obviously a little bit of a job's worth today. Even booking, you're getting players and fans booked for enjoying football. But like I said, whether it's a decision, I think the referee will have to look back at that and think, even if he thinks it's a foul, the free kick shouldn't be allowed to be taken from there. But that's that's the element of concentration you need. They've obviously capitalised on that opportunity because they did look a threat on the counter at times, but just deserves in the end because we got ourselves back into the game, and it was nice for Jason. He had a tough game all afternoon. Right from early on, he got some rough treatment. The referee took a long time to clamp down on that. There was even an incident where Lever took one of our players out of it in a build-up to attack. The referee didn't come back to book him. But like I said, we're not going to, they're amateurs in what's becoming an increasingly professional game. So it's an extremely difficult environment. I'm sure people watching Match of the Day this weekend or next weekend, and you've got professionals still make mistakes, and the laws are so complex and difficult. And the referees, I just thought the referee, if you're going to set a standard about where free kicks and throw-ins are taken, then you've got to be consistent, and that's the one thing that frustrates us if the referee isn't consistent.
It looked as though we were heading for a 0-0 today because your goalkeeper today, Ben Hinchliffe, I mean, 2 terrific saves early in the second half and really kept it at 0-0, and it looked as though that was where it was headed.
Yeah, but I didn't think, Chorley obviously carved out a few of them, but most of it was coming from our own poor play. I mean, again, Ben's distribution today at times was putting us on the back foot. You could play it using the outside of the foot and giving it away, and we had a lot of scrappy edges to us today, and we gave the ball away too much. But like I said, so if you do that, you're going to cause yourself problems. And we have in previous games, and we're obviously constantly studying the videos and looking at how we can improve players. But there are some poor decisions and poor execution of technique, even under no pressure. So that's something that you just have to accept that players are like. Ben made a couple of saves, but like I said, we put. Although we didn't force the keeper into a lot of saves, there was a lot of promising moments where we looked really threatening. If the ball had been in the right area, we'd have scored. And so, like I said, it might have headed to 0-0 because neither team had the quality to impose itself on. But like I said, it was a rip-roaring last 10 minutes for us, and it's nice for what was a really good crowd today to go home happy, at least to see a goal and see us come back. And like I said, it wasn't our tidiest performance, but again, the lads have shown the grit and the character, which is important. And my message to them at the end was quite simple, that we got the grit and character. They played well, we didn't. Now, when we play well and show that grit and character, then we've got something to build on. Have they got anything to build on, Chorley? Because I think that's as well as they played.
Gary Stopforth got the man of the match today, but we were talking about Dan Cowen up in the press box this afternoon, and I thought it was an excellent performance from Dan in both directions.
Yeah, I think you're right, because Dave Gannon passed on. I said to him, nobody really tore up today, and there was no easy decision. Gary's been catching the eye of quite a few people over the last last couple of weeks, so he's one of them that you're always on the lookout for. No, but there wasn't a lot of players I could say 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10. But Dan was pretty solid today. He's a great young lad, great attitude. And like I said, sometimes people just don't look at people like him for man of the match, because they look at people with a bit more personality, a bit more character, people that catch their eye. So that's fine, that's their choice. I just wish there was a lot more contenders for man of the match today, and if we had 6 or 7 players that were at the top of the game, then we would have won today.
Well, we're back at Edgeley Park next week. Southport, of course, the visitors in the FA Trophy. I'm guessing you're going to say to me it's not the same Southport that we faced earlier in the season with Kevin Davis in charge now.
Well, I don't know. We haven't, we've been so busy studying Chorley and Boston and Nuneaton that, I was quite surprised, because, we were having a quick scan of the league table before coming in, and just to see where Southport are. And this is a team that we were struggling to compete with because of the finances they were putting out to players. So they've assembled a good squad. They're talking about professionalising what's going on there. They've brought in a big name, and there's a lot of talk about where they want to go, but it's not happening. And I think Southport in particular have probably realised how tough this division is. It's a struggle in the national, but you need something in place that's really strong at this level to be in the top half. So they are in a poor position. It's hard to judge what we're facing next week. We want to do well in the FA Trophy. For me personally, I've got there's several players who are itching to play a little bit more football than they are. So that gives me a good decision to make in terms of, perhaps freshening the squad up and giving a couple of players a chance to impose themselves on the on the first team. But again, we'll look forward to. Like I said, it's interesting that it's a team from our level. It's always nice to play somebody outside of that, but we'll treat it like a league match. We'll be wanting to win the game, and then we'll see where that takes us, because we know we need to be preparing for Brackley and Spennymoor and Curzon as we go into Christmas, because we want to. We've had some reasonable results recently. 5 points from the last 3 games is okay. So what we want to do is just get ourselves into a position where we win more games, and I think that I've said consistently, we've got goals in this team, but we need clean sheets. You don't win anything, you don't win league records or championships without a consistent run of clean sheets, and that's where I think a lot of work on the training ground, on the pitch and behind the scenes needs to be done.
Top. Thanks for your time. Cheers.